Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new on my channel, then welcome. In today's video, I'm going to put the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Soft Matte Longwear Foundation to the test. I feel that I need to do like a quick pre-story to why I'm doing this video so late again, so just get comfortable because this is going to be a while. I remember when the Fenty Beauty first launched and people went nuts about this. I think especially because it was Rihanna who launched her makeup line, and also the foundation shade range was so massive for something that just launched that I think it kind of blew people's minds a bit. They came out with 40 shades straight away, and the main selling point of this foundation was that whatever kind of skin tone you have, you will find something that resembles your complexion. So people were really excited about this. But then the reviews started coming in, and I noticed that a lot of the YouTubers who I have a similar skin type with, which is normal to dry, sometimes more so dry than normal, that foundation didn't work for them, and they didn't like it because it just made their dry skin even more dry. It was really drying. Apparently this foundation is best suited for combination to oily skin. So straight away when I saw those kinds of reviews, I just steered clear of the Fenty foundation. In general, I am not a huge fan of matte foundations because just in my opinion they don't look that good on me. So that was the main reason why I never got around to buying the Fenty foundation. It just didn't really pique my interest. But a dear subscriber of mine recently asked me to try out the Fenty Beauty foundation, and since my sister happened to have the Fenty Beauty foundation, I just borrowed it from her, and that's what I'm doing today. I am a bit skeptical, I'm a bit scared, and I am not sure that this is going to work on my skin, but nonetheless we're going to try, we're going to test it out and see what happens. So the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Soft Matte Longwear Foundation retails for $34 US. It comes in 32 milliliters or 1.08 fluid ounces. As I already mentioned, the foundation comes in 40 shades. This one in particular is in the shade 180. I hope that this is going to match me, although I know that my sister is slightly darker than I am. I also heard that the foundation does oxidize a bit, so I am a bit scared. As the name suggests, this is a long-wearing formula. It is supposed to leave you with a soft matte finish. It's supposedly medium to full coverage. It is sweat and humidity resistant. Apparently this is not going to clog your pores, and this is also cruelty free. So now we get to the most interesting part, application. As always when it comes to testing out foundations, I am dividing my face in half. So one side of the face will get a primer, a setting spray, all that kind of stuff, and the other side will just test the foundation out as it is. I do have moisturizer on my whole face, and I applied a bit more than I normally do because I am scared of this drying formula. I am going to prime and do all those kinds of other things on this side of my face, and we will see whether it actually has any kind of effect on the longevity of the foundation or how it ends up looking on the skin, all that kind of stuff. We'll see whether it makes a difference or not. So again, since this is a matte formula, I am using the most hydrating primer that I have, which is the Marc Jacobs Invisible Undercover Perfecting Coconut Face Primer. I can never memorize the name of this. And I'm also kind of running out of this, which is a huge shame because I love this primer. Give me something to work with, please. This is as much as we're gonna get. And I'm also using the BECCA Backlight Priming Filter on the high points of my face. So the primers have sunk into my skin, hopefully. It says to shake the foundation very well before you actually start applying it. So I'm going to apply one pump on the back of my hand. Okay, this is not very much at all. And it's actually quite liquidy and runny. I did not expect it to be this liquidy. I'm first going to do this side of my face, and I'm going to use a brush to apply it. This is the 102 Silk Finish by Zoeva. Okay, the color seems to be fine. Maybe just a tad too dark, but nothing major. I'm really hoping that this doesn't get any darker, because if it does, I'm going to end up looking orange. The pump that I put on my hand is pretty much gone, and I could only cover up about this much, which is not that much at all, especially considering that okay, maybe it wasn't a full pump, it was like a half pump, because that much came out now. Anyway, okay, so let's say that this was a half pump first, because I don't know, hadn't been used in a while. I'm doing tapping motions because I want to get the most amount of coverage. Okay, yeah. I can see all of my texture, especially in this area, which is my most problematic area. I have a lot of redness, I have a lot of these tiny little bumps, and it's really, really dry. I will get closer to the camera later, don't worry. But looking up close, this does not look great. I hate this area on my face. Especially with this foundation, it looks like it's emphasizing every single little dry patch on my skin. And I'm tapping because tapping gives you the most amount of coverage, and also when you have dry skin or flaky skin, it will just not irritate the skin as much. It won't fluff up the flakes that you have on the skin. You're pressing down on the dry skin rather than moving it around or kicking it up from the skin. So you're not lifting it. You are tapping it in place, and that's what I'm doing. But even then, oh my god. I don't have that much texture on my forehead and in between my brows. I mean, of course it depends on the foundation that I'm using. Some foundations make it a bit more evident, but others don't. And this one is making my forehead look so textured. So, oh my god, this looks really bad. I'm hating it so far. But I'm still not fully covered. You can see some of the redness, some of the spots, some discoloration on my skin. So I definitely need to add more. Okay, so this is now 2.5 pumps that I'm applying on my skin. And it's getting, can you see? It is definitely oxidizing. Oh well, not okay, maybe oxidizing is the wrong word, but it's getting darker as I'm applying it. We'll see whether it oxidizes throughout the day. I'm also going to bring it down my neck because this is getting darker as I'm applying it. Conclusion, I do not like this foundation with a brush, but we will see how it performs with a beauty blender. This is slightly damp, and maybe, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that this will apply a bit better. Time to move on to the primed side and the beauty blender side, and hopefully the better looking side. It definitely looks better on this side right now. It does not look as dry. I don't know whether it's thanks to the primers underneath or the beauty blender or the combination of both, but this side is definitely looking a lot more lifelike, and it is not emphasizing my dry areas on the face as much. And I feel like it also covered up a bit better with just one pump on this side. And that's funny because normally it's the other way around. Normally you get more coverage and the product lasts a bit longer with a brush because the brush doesn't suck up as much product as a sponge does. But in this case it seems to be the other way around. I am so tempted to go over this side with the beauty blender as well because it just looks horrendous. Yeah, I mean, you can still definitely see the texture and the dryness on this side as well, but it is nothing compared to this area and this area over here. Normally I don't see that big of a difference. The application is usually pretty much the same, and also the foundation ends up looking pretty much the same on both sides. So this is completely new to me. But yeah, I will get closer to the camera so that you can see what I'm actually talking about. Okay, so I hope that you can see how this side over here is just so much more emphasized. The texture and all that, you can just see it so much more than on this side, which just looks a bit more luminous, a bit more hydrated, a bit more skin-like. I mean, ignore the area around my nose because that always looks like complete crap no matter what foundation I use. But these areas over here around my mouth, you can definitely see the difference. At least I hope you can see the difference. and then also the area in between my brows. Now it's time to apply some concealer. I'm going to use my favorite, the Tarte Shape Tape in the shade Light Neutral. And we're going to see how the foundation copes with the concealer, whether there are any issues in blending it out or anything like that, we shall see. I'm going to blend out the concealer with a beauty blender on both sides. Okay, there seem to be no issues with blending out the concealer, but I do feel like this side once again performed better than this side. This side just looks, I don't know. It looks a bit drier and just it doesn't blend with the foundation as nicely as this side does. I just feel like the transition is a bit more seamless on this side, because this side has a bit more moisture, it looks a bit more skin-like, and the products seem to be fusing together a lot nicer. I'm going to apply a bit more on this side because I feel like the coverage is better on this side as well, which is funny, I don't know why. Anyway, so now that the concealer is blended on both sides of my face, I will finish up the rest of my makeup and I will jump back here very quickly just to let you guys know how everything blended on top. The rest of my makeup is on. I had no issues with applying other powder products on top of my skin on either side, but I did notice everything just seemed to glide and blend into the skin so much nicer on this side. As I said, there were no issues on the unprimed side either, but this side it was just better. The application was a bit better and I like how everything blended out a bit better, and I still think that it looks more skin-like on this side. It just looks a bit more dewy and fresh and glowy. You can still see the area around here, which is extremely dry and yeah, not the nicest. And also the texture up here is really evident. And then on this side, this is the primed side, and I don't know, am I crazy or does it really look better? I feel like it looks better. As the final thing, I'm also going to apply a bit of setting spray. I'm going to use it on this side only. This is the NYX Dewy Finish Long Lasting Setting Spray, and I'm hoping that this will give some extra glowiness and moisture to my skin. FYI, this is how much darker the foundation has turned from my actual skin tone. At the moment it is exactly 3:15. As of right now, I do actually like the side where I use the primers and the setting spray and the beauty blender, because I think it looks nice, it looks fresh and glowy, and I mean, of course, that's all thanks to the other products that I used on top of the foundation, but nevertheless, I do like it, and I feel that it is not looking cakey, it's not looking too heavy. But yeah, on this side, I'm still not a fan. I know that it looks okay from afar, but looking close up, you can see the tiny bumps and the tiny bits of texture, which I hope that you could see from the camera as well when I was closer to the camera. So yeah, we shall see how it is looking and holding up in a couple of hours. Okay, so it is now 6:02, which means that the foundation has been on my face for almost 3 hours. That's not really all that long at all. Normally my foundation still looks really good at the 3-hour mark. By the way, I also did have a short nap in the meantime as well, and I was laying on this side of my face, so this is the primed side and the setting spray side and all that, and I'm actually very pleasantly surprised that nothing has rubbed off. Everything is still in place. The foundation has started sinking into my smile lines, and also a bit in those little expression lines on my forehead, but more so on the side where I have no primer. And I know that you can't see it from the camera, but I can see an actual line on my forehead where the unprimed side is versus where the primed side is, because the little bumps and the texture is just so much more visible on this side. So this is the unprimed side. You can see the area that I keep referring to. It is just really textured and dry. And then on the primed side, you can see that even though the foundation around my nose doesn't look that great, I mean, it never does, but the area around my mouth, it doesn't look as bad at all. As for the oxidation, I don't think that it has gotten any darker than it was before. I will come back at the end of the day and we will see how it has held up and what my final thoughts about this foundation are. Okay guys, so it is now almost 11:30. Did you see that? It is now almost 11:30, which means that the foundation has been on my face for 8 hours and something minutes, like 8 minutes. I'm actually surprised how much my natural oils have come through this foundation. I actually look a bit oily, and funnily enough, especially on this side of my face, like this area right over here, it looks a lot more oily. I mean, it was straight up matte at the beginning, and now it's yeah. The areas that were most problematic, they still pretty much look the same. I would say that because of my natural oils, this side of my forehead doesn't look as dry and as textured as it was when I first initially applied the foundation. You can see the foundation has sunk into my smile lines a bit more than on this side. I feel that it hasn't oxidized anymore throughout the day, so at least that's a bonus. But if you are thinking of buying this foundation, then you might want to consider taking a lighter shade, or maybe even a couple of shades lighter. It is definitely going to get darker once you have applied it on the skin. I am actually surprised because I thought I was going to absolutely hate it. Like, I was so scared of the foundation because of all of the reviews, and even my sister, whose foundation this is, she doesn't really use this because it just didn't work for her skin either. Funnily enough, it doesn't look as bad. I was prepared for something a lot worse. I do have to say though that I hated the application with a brush. I think that it made it look so much more dry and so much more worse, and it just emphasized the texture and the dry patches on the skin. So if you are someone with a drier skin and you are thinking of trying this foundation out, then definitely go for a beauty blender. But even though this was not as bad as I thought, and it did kind of work with the additional products that I used and the beauty blender technique and all that, I still don't think that I would buy this personally. I don't think that I would use it, just because it looks fine, but it doesn't blow me away. And I just feel that it's so excessive to have to do these extra steps in order to make the foundation look good. I'm a lazy person, and on an everyday basis, I don't feel like applying primers and setting sprays and all that every single time to make a foundation work for me. I guess it's just really up to what you prefer, what you're looking for in a foundation. If you like a matte finish foundation, this might be perfect for you, and it's also down to what kind of skin type you have. So it's very individual, but if you are someone with a dry skin type, then I hope that this test out video helped you in some way. Those were my final thoughts, and do with them what you will. But I actually had so much fun testing it out, and it was really interesting for me to see how this foundation performed on my skin. Very surprising results, I must say. And also, thank you so much for requesting this video. You guys know I love when you request stuff. I guess that's it for me. It's time for me to go to bed, get some sleep, and wash this whole thing off. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Other than that, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!